And those are the top stories. Let's talk about the upcoming elections now, but into this angle this hour. Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal among the provinces with the highest number of uncollected IDs. That's according to Home Affairs Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi. He was briefing the media on his department's readiness to offer services ahead of this weekend's voter registration campaign. Well, eNCA reporter, my colleague Heidi Giokos, has been following the story and is joining us now live here on the Midday View on this Friday afternoon. Heidi, well, have you collected your ID? I'm going to start there first.
I still have a book. I still have the booklet. And everybody laughs at me and says, why do you still have the booklet?
Because you want to see the stamps.
No, but I don't have that smart card. So now apparently the smart card's in fashion. But the book does the same thing.
Yeah, well, some of us are ahead of the curve. I had that smart card I see long ago. Okay, the readiness, on a serious note now. The readiness of the IEC for voter registration, of course, has a lot to do whether or not when you rock up there, you can prove that you are who you say you are, and you need an ID for that. And Home Affairs says it's ready to assist, but there's a challenge.
There's a huge challenge. 400,000 identity documents have not been collected across the country. And the Home Affairs Minister, Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, is saying this is a huge concern because as much as the IEC is saying they are ready for voter registration this weekend, Home Affairs is saying, but you have about 400,000 ID books that have not been collected. A lot of them have to do with people just not collecting them. A lot of them have to do with reissuing of ID documents, and a lot of them are new applications that have just not been collected. And if you have just applied for an ID, that means you're eligible to vote if you're over 18 years old. So Home Affairs is saying this is a huge concern, and they are slightly worried about this. Gauteng is a province with the most uncollected ID documents, over 100,000. KZN is the next province with the most IDs uncollected. Let's perhaps listen to the Home Affairs Minister on this issue.
This is Gauteng province, the biggest of them all. As you can see, bottom right, 103,239 IDs uncollected, 78,498 are reissued, are the ones that were reissued after getting lost or damaged. And the first issue, those who applied for the first time, 24,741, but all of them didn't come to collect. As you can see, it is Tshwane that is a problem in Gauteng at 30,762. When you follow all my slides, you will realize that the district with most uncollected IDs in all the provinces is the district with the biggest population. But this is the difference in Gauteng. In Gauteng, the district or metro with the biggest population is Johannesburg Metro. But the metro with most uncollected ID is Tshwane.
I'm just wondering, how many of those are 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds in terms of, being an adult and stuff and all? Did you shed light on that?
So the question was asked, but the minister's saying it's very difficult to ascertain how many IDs are not collected that are 16 or 18. 18 is the crucial one because that means you're eligible to vote. So they don't have a number yet on how many people have not collected that are 18.
Okay, the weekend is upon us. Voter registration is going to happen. What kind of assistance will Home Affairs offer to those who need to register but don't have the IDs or they haven't yet collected their IDs?
Yes, so we know about 3,000 staff members, Home Affairs staff members, have been asked to work the weekend. We do understand that there will be officers across the country in every province to assist those who want to register to vote this weekend but are unable to do so because they don't have an ID document. The assistance that will be provided, of course, is for a temporary ID, or those that want to change their ID documents for whatever reason, their surname, or they don't live there where they previously lived and they need to change their addresses. What's also key here, Dan, is the fact that they have prepared a number of generators because they're saying they're not sure if there's going to be load shedding this weekend and they don't want any issues. So they want to make sure that these officers across the country are well equipped to assist the thousands that are expected to go out and vote and register to vote this weekend. What's interesting, though, is that the IEC says there are about 23 1,000 voting registration stations across the country, yet Home Affairs is only deploying about 3,000 staff members, and there are 400,000 uncollected IDs. So hopefully there's not going to be panic tomorrow, given the fact that people might want to go and register to vote, but they don't have their ID documents. But let's listen to the Minister on this issue once again.
We are deploying a total staff of 3,039 employees from the Department of Home Affairs throughout the whole country to help over the 2 days. Next. Yes. Now, which services are we going to offer over the weekend? The services that are going to offer is issuance of temporary identity certificate. A temporary identity certificate is given to a person who had an ID before and either has lost it or is damaged or is no longer have it, but this person is in our systems. That means the person appears on the National Population Register. We've got the fingerprints of that person, we've got the photo, we've got all their details. All we do is to issue a temporary ID. It is very fast to issue it. It has got your ID number. It is accepted as identification by the IEC. You can have it and go and register. Now, we are also going to give a service of collection of the IDs I've just mentioned, both green barcoded and smart IDs. If you go to any of the offices that I'm going to show now, you can collect them if you are one of the people who did not collect. We are also going to do manual verification of identity certificates of TICs. In other words, to verify that the TIC you are carrying is authentic.
The Home Affairs Minister there, Aaron Motsoaledi. Okay, before you go in very briefly, Heidi, I'm just wondering, why are they raising this issue of uncollected IDs at the moment? Is there some kind of concern that you picked up that because you don't have an ID, many people must say, no, what's the point of registering?
Yes, certainly. I think the IEC, together with Home Affairs, are quite concerned with the fact that there are over 400,000 uncollected ID documents. In order for you to register to vote for the polls on the 1st of November, you need to have an ID document. And this is a huge concern for the IEC and for the Home Affairs Department. Of course, the Minister is slightly concerned because the provinces, every single province has uncollected ID documents. So hopefully people will take up the opportunity this weekend to use the facilities that Home Affairs will set up across all provinces to get those ID documents or a temporary ID, or sort out your ID issues and be able to register to vote.
Yeah, because quite simply, no ID can register, can do. There has to be proof that this is who you say you are. Thank you very much, Heidi Giokos on the Media View. Now, let's